Welcome back to Kids Bible Chronicles. It's time for Bible reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 1 to chapter 3.
The wonderful world God made. Once upon a time, at the very start, God made the sky and the earth. At first, the earth was all jumbled up and it was dark, but God's special spirit was watching over the waters. God said, "Let there be light." And just like that, there was light. God thought it was great, so he kept the light away from the dark. He called the bright time day and the dark time night. That was the very first day. God said, "Now let's have a big space in the waters to separate them." So he made a big space and it kept the water below away from the water above. God called it sky. That was the second day. Next, God said, "Let's gather the water together so dry land can appear." And it happened. The dry land became land, and the gathered water became seas. God thought it was good. Then God said, "Let the land bring out all sorts of plants and trees, each with their special seeds." And it was like magic. The land filled up with plants, each with their own seeds, and trees with yummy fruits and seeds. God liked it a lot. That was the third day. God said, "Now let's put some big lights in the sky, one for daytime and one for nighttime. They'll help us know special times and days and years." And just like that, it happened. God made two amazing lights, one super bright for the day and one gentle one for the night. He even sprinkled the sky with sparkling stars. God put them all in the sky to shine on the earth. He thought it was awesome. That was the fourth day. God said, "Now let's fill the water with all sorts of amazing creatures and let birds fly high up in the sky." So, God created huge sea creatures and every living thing that swam in the water, each with its own special kind. He also made all the birds, each one with its own kind. God thought it was fantastic. He told them, "Be happy and have lots of little ones. Fill up the seas with your families and let the skies be full of birds." That was the fifth day. Then God said, "Let's have lots of creatures on the land. Animals, big and small, and everything that crawls around, each with its own kind." And it happened. God made wild animals, farm animals, and all kinds of creatures that scurry on the ground, each with their own special kind. God liked it a lot. God said, "Let's create people to be just like us, to watch over the fish, birds, animals, and everything that crawls on the ground." So God made people in his own special way, in his image, and he made them boys and girls. God blessed them and said, "Be happy and have lots of kids. Take care of the earth and everything in it, like the fish in the seas, the birds in the skies, and all the animals." Then God said, "I'm giving you all the plants with seeds and all the yummy fruits with seeds for your food. And for all the animals and birds and creatures on the ground, I'm giving them green plants to munch on." And just like that, it happened. God looked at everything he had made, and it was really, really good. That was the end of the sixth day.
Kids Audiobook from the Book of Genesis, Chapter 2. Part 1. Creation of the World. From the Book of Genesis, Chapter 2, verse 1 to 9, 15 to 25. Once upon a time, long, long ago in the very beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. God worked really hard for 6 days, making everything: the sun, moon, stars, land, and oceans. Everything was brand new and beautiful. On the seventh day, God took a break and rested. God blessed this special day and made it a day of rest for everyone. Now let me tell you about the first man, Adam. God created Adam from the dust of the ground and breathed the breath of life into him. Imagine, God shaping Adam with great care and love. Adam became a living, breathing person made in God's own image. In a wonderful garden called Eden, God planted all sorts of amazing trees. In the middle of the garden there were 2 special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam, "You can eat from any tree except the one in the middle. If you eat from it, you will know both good and evil." God saw that Adam was lonely, so he decided to make a special friend for him. God created all the animals and birds, but none of them were quite right as a companion for Adam. So God made a woman from one of Adam's ribs. Adam named her Eve. Now they were the first family on earth, and everything was perfect in their world. Part 2. The Garden Adventure. From the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 10 to 14, 16 to 25. Then in the garden a river flowed, watering the land and making it rich and fruitful. There were precious stones like gold and onyx all around. It was a paradise, a perfect home for Adam and Eve. God gave Adam and Eve a special job, to take care of the garden and all the creatures. They had the freedom to enjoy everything except the fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God warned them that eating from that tree would bring trouble. One day, a crafty serpent tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. She took a bite and gave some to Adam. Suddenly they felt different, and they realized they were naked. They felt shame and tried to hide from God. When God came to the garden, he knew what had happened. Adam and Eve admitted their mistake and there were consequences. But God, in his love and mercy, provided clothes for them and promised a plan for their future. Even though they had to leave the perfect garden, God still cared for Adam and Eve. They began a new journey and God's love guided them through all their adventures. And so, the story of the world's first family continued, with God always by their side. End of Genesis chapter 2. Thank you for reading along. God bless you.
Welcome back to Kids Bible Chronicles. It's time for Bible reading from the book of Genesis chapter 3, part 1. From the book of Genesis chapter 3 verses 1 to 12, the temptation. In the beautiful Garden of Eden where God created everything, there were two special people named Adam and Eve. God told them about a special tree called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and asked them not to eat its fruit. One day, a sly snake came to Eve and said tricky things. The snake lied, telling Eve that if she ate the fruit, she would become very wise. Eve believed the snake and took a bite. She also shared the fruit with Adam. As soon as they ate it, they knew they had done something wrong. They felt sad and tried to hide from God. God, who loves them, found them and asked about it. Adam and Eve admitted they made a mistake and didn't follow God's rule. Because they didn't listen to God, there were consequences. The snake also faced consequences. God explained that life would be harder, but he promised to send Savior one day to fix everything. Part 2. From the book of Genesis chapter 3 verses 13 to 24, Consequences and Promise. God asked Eve why she ate the fruit. Eve admitted her mistake, and Adam also said he ate it because Eve gave it to him. God explained the difficulties they would face, but also gave a promise of hope. A special Savior would come one day. Even though Adam and Eve had to leave the garden, God still loved them. He made clothes for them and showed them that he has a plan to help them. God placed cherubim and a flaming sword to protect the way to the special tree, reminding us that God's plans are always for our good. That's the story of how Adam and Eve made a wrong choice and faced consequences, but received God's love and promise of hope. That's the end of the book of Genesis chapter 3. Until next time, see you in the next chapter. God bless you.